Hello and welcome to 2 Cents Worth. I am your host, Ryan DeFaber. As always, today we're going to talk about buying a car. The process of buying a car, the research, the tools at your fingertips, the financing, new car, used car, the overwhelming amount of information, and really trying to boil it down to how to make the experience a fun and beneficial experience. Buying a car sucks, right? We all know dealerships, just like a DMV, just have a bad rap. You think you're going to go into a dealership, you're going to get a car, you're going to be out of there in an hour. Nope, all of a sudden you're there 4 hours. The car payment you thought you were going to have is going to be more because of all these additional packages. The salesperson goes back and forth to the sales manager. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. It's a crazy negotiation. Some people love it. Most people don't, right? And I think as we are now in 2023, heading towards 2024, there are so many different options and ways to buy a car, the technology around all those things. So again, the research and making sure you find the right car that's for you. So for me right now, I am in the market for a car. I thought it was going to be another SUV, and as I've done my research and looked and more, I think it's going to be a truck. And there are certain things that I want from the truck. I want it to be 4 wheels. I want four-wheel drive. I want a truck to have 4 wheels. Imagine that. Idiot. 4-wheel drive. I want it to have leather seats. I have leather seats in my car right now, my SUV right now, and it's with 2 kids and a dog. It's a heck of a lot easier to clean than cloth, especially with the dog hair. The dog hair sticks to the cloth. We have a big lab. And I'm not going to put him in the bed of the truck. I'm going to put him in the cab, obviously, when we travel or bring him. And so I want leather seats. So cloth versus leather, new versus used, 4-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive, all of those things. So, and for those of you that don't know, and probably most of you don't, I drive a 2016 Honda Pilot. That is what I drive. I call it the Dadmobile. Not the coolest car in the world. So for me, I want my next car to be something cool, something that I love the Pilot. I enjoy driving it, but I want my next car to kind of be cool. I'm heading towards 40. It's not a midlife crisis by any means. By the way, I turned 39 in a couple weeks. Say happy birthday to me if you don't know. August 1st, send me a message. This is coming out on 7/20, so still got 12 days. But anyways, so I drive a 2016 Honda Pilot. It's done what it needs to do, and I'm ready to move on and get a new truck, and probably going to get a used truck. And just so, because there's so many options out there and so many different price ranges, I don't need it to be crazy. Again, this is really all I want. I want it to have leather seats, and I want it to have 4-wheel drive, and I want it to look cool. I want a cool truck. I want a bigger truck. I'm not looking for a Ford Ranger or a Tacoma or the smaller trucks. I want a decent-sized truck. So I've narrowed it down. So I've done my research. I've narrowed it down to 4 to 5. Really 4 is what I'm leaning towards. A Chevy Silverado, a Toyota Tundra, a Ford F-150, or a GMC Sierra. Those are really the 4. The 5th is a Dodge Ram. But in all honesty, I don't really like the way that they look in the model that I would want. So the Lariat is the model that Ram has, and I just don't like the grille. Doesn't speak to me, right? And if I'm going to drive something, I want something that looks cool and that I can, it's a car, it's a truck, whatever, it gets you from A to B. But for me, and at this point, I'm like, I want something cool. I've never had a truck before. I've driven them before, obviously. But I've never had one of my own. So I'm going to go through that process with you. So new or used, right? There's so many options out there. I think what you need to do first is decide. I would encourage anyone initially to look at the used cars just because there are probably a lot of good deals out there from what I've found. So right now what I've done is I've built out a spreadsheet. Make and model, new or used, what year, where did I find it, whether it's Cars.com, Auto Trader, CarMax, a dealership, Carvana, What's the mileage? What's the price? And some more of the additional notes, right? Is it a diesel engine? Does it have the leather seats? Because I've looked at a bunch, right? So most have leather seats, some don't. But again, it fits in the price range. So what I've done also from a pricing and mileage perspective is I want something that has less than really 40,000 miles. And if I'm being honest, less than really like 35,000 miles. And then I have a price point for that. And so, and I also am only looking at models from 2020 to 2024. Okay. So I'm narrowing certain areas down. And right now, from all the research that I've done over the last couple of weeks, I have roughly 23 trucks to look at, which I need to start narrowing down. That'll probably start coming with what I'll talk to you guys about in on this episode. So, new or used? There are new ones on here. There are used trucks on here. Most of them are used because of the deals that you can get, and again, the options that I want. So what I would say is start there, new or used, look at used inventory, and look at the inventory from what I've just mentioned: Cars.com, AutoTrader, CarMax, Carvana, and then also dealerships. There's so many options out there. I think you can, even if you live in a large metropolitan area like I do, I'm only searching 25 miles from my zip code. And I've narrowed it down right now to 23 trucks, which I'm going to have to narrow down to probably 5. What are the top 5 that, from a price, from mileage, from look, and safety rating and reliability. I want this truck to last as long as my Pilot has, which I've had it now for 7 years. I like the fact that having something for a longer period of time, not 3, 4 years, 5, 6, 7, 10 years, right? So looking at all that. So I would say is look at all those areas, right? Cars.com, AutoTrader, CarMax, Carvana, and then also see what dealerships are actually pricing on these, on Cars.com and on AutoTrader specifically, and then go to the dealership websites as well. Because here's the other thing too, is there are differences between internet pricing and lot pricing. And I've been learning that too as I've been looking at these. And I've noticed as you go down into the notes, if you're going to inquire about one of these trucks or cars or SUVs or whatever you're looking for online, it says, please make sure to mention the internet price. Because, and you'll even say the lot price can be different than the internet price. So you always want to make sure that you're getting the best price. And one thing that I did here recently is I found an app called Copilot. And what Copilot does is you fill out your information and it does all the research for you and find you cars trucks, whatever it might be. I'm just going to keep saying cars, automobiles that fit your criteria and tell you if it's an A+ buy. Why is it an A+ buy? Is it because of pricing? Is it below MSRP? How much is it below MSRP? What updates or upgrades have been in that automobile and the amount of it? So Copilot has been actually a really good app for me to use, because a lot of the Copilot automobiles that they're showing me are showing up on my list that I've been searching for otherwise, but now I can actually have a rating for them, a Copilot rating, and say, okay, this is an A+ buy, this is a B+ buy, and that'll also help me narrow down my search. So that's been really good. The other thing I would say from a research perspective is take your time. There's so much information out there. There's so many different tools. Right now what I'm using is Car and Driver, Kelley Blue Book. I'm looking at YouTube videos from trusted resources. JD Power is a great place to go. Cars.com, or not Cars.com. JD Power gives you all the awards and the ratings for what they see year over year. Car and Driver does the same thing, so you can pick a certain year. So say you're in the market for a 2020, we'll just use mine, a 2020 Toyota Tundra. I can go on to Car and Driver and see what the ratings are for that. I can go to JD Power and see what the ratings are for that. The other thing too is if you're concerned about safety and what the safety ratings are, go to the IIHS safety ratings for any car, and they will show you what their crash test looks like and all of those things. So, and this is just That's just quick, right? I mean, I'm not go Google. Google just best best trucks for 2020, and so many different options will come up, right? So let's do that right now. Let's just go best trucks, and I'm just using 2020 as an example. Best trucks for 2020. Consumer Reports, right? So let's look at that one. So you got Consumer Reports, right? I didn't even mention that. You can go to Consumer Reports. You can go to, there's so many websites right here. So here's another one. Careful what you buy. Most reliable 2020 full-size trucks. And this is from pickuptrucktalk.com. They have YouTube videos for you. USA Today, AARP, Consumer Reports. So make sure you're just doing your research. Take your time. Right now, it seems like there's a decent amount of inventory. It seems like we're coming back out of COVID and the pandemic. It seems like the inventory is growing. I know that for a while there, even the new inventory was struggling, but new inventory seems like it's gaining steam again. The used inventory is strong from what I'm seeing from the trucks that I'm looking at. Might be different in different areas of different SUVs or cars or whatever you might be looking at. But I would do that. Make sure you're doing your research. If I'm going to open up Consumer Reports, best pickup trucks, and they have all types of things that you can do, right? So what did I say? A Toyota Tundra? Let's see. Toyota Tundra this is a great website to use. Toyota Tundra, find pickup truck rating for Toyota Tundra 2020. It tells you what the average retail price should be. It tells you you got to join for the ratings and reviews. So you're going to have to join certain things and websites, and that's okay. If you don't like getting a bunch of junk mail, then create a different email account for that and let all the junk mail go there. There's a little pro tip for you. If you don't like getting all the junk mail from all these sites that you have to sign up for, just create a throwaway account, 1234@gmail.com, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. So you can see this. There's alerts on here, so you can check and see, what's the overall on all of this. They have the overview, the ratings and specs, the road test report, the reliability, owner satisfaction, photos and videos, and what your average pricing should be. So I think that's great. So again, unbiased rating and reviews for you to find. So I'm going to probably start looking at that too, and that'll also help me narrow down. So Consumer Reports, Car and Driver, Kelley Blue Book, IIHS safety ratings, the YouTube. YouTube is a great tool, but just make sure you're finding reliable people and areas there. The JD Power, and then using the app Copilot. All of these things are helping me in my search. Now the fun part, the financing, paying for this. How are you going to pay for it? Most people that I would know, usually you're going to get a car payment when they're going to get a car. They're not going to get they're not going to pay in full. Some might have a trade-in value that meets or succeeds the cost of what they're planning on buying. Most don't, right? Sickening thing about cars is the minute you drive it off the lot, it starts depreciating in value. It's a wild thing that we have this thing that we use every single day for so many reasons, obviously getting to A to B, but for all of these things, and it's depreciates in value the minute you drive it off the lot. The minute you put a mile on it, it depreciates in value. So that's the crazy thing. But from a financing perspective, a lot of people will just go to the dealership and use the dealership financing. What I've seen and a lot of what I've read is that's probably a terrible idea. Their APRs are going to be quite high, which is your annual percentage rate, which is what basically they're going to collect on you from the loan on a monthly basis, and so that's not great, right? So. And what I'm seeing is a lot of them are like here. Let's just see if I can go to. I think I have a dealership up, and if I do, I want to say they're like the ARPs with like really really good credit right now is like starting at like 9%. Well, that's not that great, to be honest with you. Let's see. Explore payments. I'm just going to see if they're going to show. Oh, I don't want to get. I don't need to get all my information right now. But anyway, so from what I'm seeing right now, it's a little bit like 8% all the way up to like 15, 16%. It's all dependent on credit and et cetera. But what I've done is I've gone and done my research, and there's an article from CNBC from June 23rd, 2023. So very recently, within the last month. And it's, where are the 6 best auto loans for flexible terms, low rates, and simple application process? And this is what's great too. Getting pre-approved for an auto loan, you can get pre-approved. Most of them don't really do a hard credit check, so it doesn't hurt your credit whenever you get a credit check. Obviously, sometimes it hurts your credit. You know, what are you buying? What additional debt are you trying to take on, etc. Most of them will do it without a credit check or a minimum hit on your credit check to where it doesn't really hurt you. And then they're good for like 30 days for you to be pre-approved. So you can take that pre-approval to the dealership and then they can just work through that. But the best auto loans, right? The best overall place to get an auto loan, most people will probably not even know this, but credit unions. And one specifically is PenFed Auto Loans. PenFed is a credit union. And the one thing with credit unions, the con about the credit union is that you do have to have a membership. So you have to make sure that you qualify for that membership of a credit union, right? So here in North Carolina, we have a handful of credit unions. There's one right down the street, and it's State Employees Credit Union. Well, I'm not a state employee. My wife's not a state employee. No one in my family's ever been a state employee. So we can't become members of that credit union, right? So there's certain membership criteria. But credit unions are a great place to get auto loans. They have low ARPs, and they usually have pretty good terms. And I'm looking right now, if you want an auto loan from PenFed, right now most loans start around $500, and they can go all the way up. There's no early payoff fees. Pre-qualification is available, so you can pre-qualify without having to, again, the big credit check. Cash incentives through car buying services. Co-borrower is allowed. So if you needed a co-borrower, you're allowed to be on that loan, right? If you're just not getting the loan for yourself, or there's going to be another person on that loan. The con, like I mentioned, membership required. And then there are late payment subjects to fees. So if you're late on payments, you're going to get charged a fee. So, but what I'm seeing here is they do loans for new vehicles, used vehicles, and refinancing. Usually their ARP starts around 5.19%. It's pretty decent right now. Credit needed, it says not specified. So again, all dependent on your credit. That's going to be for any loan. Terms can be anywhere from 36 months all the way up to 84 months. Your late fee is 20% of the overdue amount. So just remember that, right? If you're gonna go through PenFed and you're gonna go through a credit union, membership and late payments are usually there, right? So that's they're stating that the best overall place to get a loan is PenFed Auto Loans, but also look at your other credit unions around you. That's what I would do. Best from a bank, Capital One. Most people think Capital One is credit cards. It's not. It's also a bank. So go look at Credit One, Capital One. Their ARP, it depends on credit profile. Their loan amounts start at $4,000, so not $500 like PenFed does. Their terms are 36 to 72 months, so they don't go as long. The one thing with them is the cons are Capital One is only available at participating dealers. So you want to make sure that the dealer that you're buying from, if you are going to go through Capital One, is an approved dealer. And it says you must apply at the dealer to get the final loan terms. So there's the other aspect of it, is that if you're going to go through Capital One, you have to be at that dealership. And that kind of negates some of the stuff that I mentioned before about a CarMax and a Carvana. You can do all that paperwork online. Carvana is going to bring you the car. CarMax, if it's not at the lot that you live near, they will deliver it to that lot. You fill out all the paperwork, and it's basically a trade, right? You can go and pick it up. So there's those things. The pros for it: open to borrowers with bad credit. There's no early payoff fees, pre-qualification, and convenient online tools allowing you to search for vehicles and check estimate loan terms. So that's a nice thing too. So with Capital One, you can go and see what vehicles and check the estimate loans on what terms are going to be able to give you for that. So Capital One is the best bank to go through. The best rate shopping, so you hear of like LendingTree and other places like that, they suggest My Auto Loan. So if you're looking to shop for rates, go to myautoloan.com. Here's the thing. It's open to borrowers with bad credit, no early payoffs, pre-qualification available, provides multiple offers, full online application, co-borrowers and co-signers are allowed. The cons are limited customer service, and it's not available in all states. So again, you want to make sure that your state qualifies for that if you're in the United States, right? Most of this is going to be for the United States, just so everyone's aware. If anyone listening overseas, outside of the United States, excuse me, just over here burping, overseas or out of the country, just know that. Best online car shopping. I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again. Carvana. They are saying Carvana is the best place for online car shopping. If you don't want to go to a dealership, it is the best place. And it says, who's this for? Carvana can be a good solution if you want as simple of a car buying process as possible. While many lenders offer an online application, there are usually extra steps you need to take to finish the car buying process, such as visiting the dealership, getting in touch with the lender to finalize the financing. Carvana simplifies the process by only offering loans for cars from its inventory, keeping the entire process in-house. You can pre-qualify online without a hard credit check and see personalized estimated terms for each car you borrow on Carvana's website. Pre-qual expires in 45 days as opposed to 30 days you get with most other lenders. So there you go. There's a pro. Okay. So the pros for Carvana: open to borrowers with bad credit, no early payoff fees, pre-qualification available, 45 days worth of it, 100% online process available, application process available. It allows co-signers. The cons: the financing is only through cars sold on Carvana, which I don't see as a con, really. That's obviously, if you're going to buy a car from Carvana, the financing is going to be for those cars, right? They're not a bank. They're not a lender. They're lending for the cars that they have through their program. And also, Carvana is just not available in all states, okay? Their terms, 36 to 72 months. Their ARP starts at 6.85, so a little more than PenFed, but there you go. So that's what Carvana is. And then the last two are going to be the best place for used vehicle selection. They're going CarMax. I'm surprised by this, and I'm going to read into it a little more. Cars.com, Auto Trader, those have been really good resources for me so far as I've been looking, for the fact that it gives me so many options of all the dealerships around. CarMax is going to be strictly for CarMax cars. So, oh, geez, I'm an idiot. Best for used vehicle selection is CarMax Auto Loan, not CarMax.com. So CarMax Auto Loan is going to be best for used vehicle selection. The reason being, it's a good choice for consumers who are on the market for a used car and want access to a large inventory. So again, CarMax has a huge inventory nationwide. They can ship to your dealership. You just have to make sure that you understand what the fees are. They show that on the website. But what they're saying is, as the largest used car retailer in the United States, CarMax also provides financing for its cars it sells. The application process is easy. There's no minimum score requirement to qualify. You can use the retailer's pre-qualification tool to get personalized terms such as ARP and monthly payments with no impact on your credit. Further, CarMax offers a 3-day payoff program if you find a better loan offer within 3 days of closing your CarMax loan. For that reason, it pays to shop around for financing if you're going with CarMax, especially since its policy doesn't allow for price negotiation. So again, you can't go into CarMax and negotiate the price for the car. That their price is their price. Their pros: open to borrowers with bad credit, no early payoff fees, pre-qualification available, 100% online application process available, low minimum loan amount, allows co-borrowers. The cons: financing is only available for cars sold at CarMax, not available in all states, and the prices are non-negotiable. They don't say what the lowest ARP is going to be. Their loans start at $500. Their terms are 36 to 72 months. I do like the fact, though, that shop before. So this is a great thing. If you find that CarMax is the place that you want to buy your car, you're going to go through their loan. Go through their loan, and then, but before you go through their loan process, shop around. Go to these other places. Get another qualification from a different loan. If it's less than the one that CarMax is going to give you, you can close that CarMax loan out in 3 days. For that reason, it pays to shop around for financing if you're not going with CarMax, especially since its policy does not allow for price negotiation. So CarMax offers a 3-day, I'm going to read this again. CarMax offers a 3-day payoff program if you find a better loan offer within 3 days of closing your CarMax loan. So there you go. Shop around. And then if you're looking to just refinance, if you have a car loan right now and you don't like the car payments and you're looking to try and get a lower car payment, this article is telling you go to AutoPay Car Loan. AutoPay Car Loan is worth considering if you have an existing car loan you're looking to refinance. Similar to myautoloan.com, which is what I mentioned earlier, best place to shop around, AutoPay is an online platform connecting borrowers with financial institutions. While you can finance a new or used vehicle using AutoPay, what really stands out is its wide selection of refinancing products. These include traditional and cashback financing as well as lease buyout financing. So this also, AutoPay, you can also get financing for your new or used vehicle. It's not just for refinancing, but they're telling you the best place to go to refinance is here. Reason being, open to borrowers with bad credit, no early payoff fees, pre-qualification available, wide loan amount range, allows co-applicants. A loan approval, these are the cons. The loan approval may take up to 42 hours. Loan funding can take up to 2 weeks. So just be prepared for that if you're going to go through them. Their ARP starts at 2.99. The loan purpose is for new and used vehicles, refinancing loans, and lease buyouts. Their terms are 24 to 96 months, so that's the most. The 96 months is the most I've seen. Loan amounts are anywhere from $2,500 to $100,000. So again, what I'm telling you here, if you're looking to buy a car in the future and you're in the market either today, like I kind of am, looking around, do your research. I would highly suggest do what I'm doing. Don't jump into something right away. Be weary of some of the dealerships, right? Make sure that the dealerships that you're dealing with have good reputations. And, go through this stuff. If you have the opportunity to kind of build out a spreadsheet like I have, do that. Get the app Copilot. Go and look at these websites, Car and Driver, Kelley Blue Book, IIHS, JD Power, Consumer Reports. Do all of that so you find the right car, right? Especially for me, as a parent, I want to make sure that this truck that I'm going to get, not only does it look fucking cool, but it's going to keep my kids safe, my wife safe, my dog safe, myself safe, right? I want to make sure that it's got good crash test ratings. I want to make sure that it's reliable. We're not going to break down if we go on a road trip. I want to make sure that this is going to be a truck that I'm going to have for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years, right? Because that's the plan, right? Is to bring this and to buy this and have it. And that it meets all of your qualifications of what you want. If you don't need leather seats and you want cloth and you're just set to a price point, cool. If you're set to a certain amount of mileage and a price point, cool. And you don't need any other bells or whistles, awesome, right? So just make sure, do your research, shop around, especially when it comes to financing. Do that as well. Shop around, look around, make sure that what you're going to get is the best for you. Don't just go to the dealership and get a dealer loan. I'm going to tell you, you're going to pay more from an APR perspective. If you're going to go through some of these that I just mentioned, also make sure that you are doing it for the right dealership, right? Again, going back to the Capital One thing, it only applies to certain dealerships. And one of the cons for the Capital One is that let's go back up to it. It was, I think you still must apply at the dealer to get the final loan terms. So from a Carvana perspective, I don't know if that would work and whatnot, So just be aware of that. I'd love to know your thoughts. As always, you can find me on social media. The Instagram is Ryan.DeFaber. Facebook is Ryan DeFaber or 2 Cents Worth Podcast. Find me there. Twitter, it's Ryan DeFaber. If you want to comment on anything that you heard on this show, I'd love to hear from you, know some of your car experience, car buying experience, some of your tips and tricks. It's always helpful, especially for the listeners. As always, thank you for listening. If you can, always make sure that you comment on the podcast platforms on why you like the show. Share it with your friends and family, coworkers, whoever, people on the street. I don't give a shit. Just let people know that if they like hearing about the life of a 39-year-old husband and father of 2 in North Carolina, to hop on the bandwagon, because it's 2 cents worth, baby, and that's what we are. Thank you again. Have a great day.